Good morning, Internet. Good morning, subscribers. It is I, the Big E, Eric Arnold, and I'm on my way to the Ohio Valley Bush League Fantasy Baseball Draft, the 37th annual, 2020. Before I left after all the sports leagues closed down, which is kind of the whole point of these videos is sports, my wife said, now what are you going to do? Or now what are you going to talk about? So, well, that's a good question. Yeah, we're kind of living in a historical moment here. I kind of saw this coming. This got here faster than even I thought was going to get here. We worked hard and labored hard all winter to master our handicapping on college basketball, leading into the big tournament, which for, I think, the first time ever, is not going to happen. So whatever the stats say on the board in the sports barn, that's what they are. They're not going to change. It looks like our final percentage is going to be just short of 52%, which is not real great. I know one of the answers to my wife's questions is, what are you going to do now? Well, A, I'm not going to be able to go out and get a job because they're not going to let me out of the house. I'm reasonably sure about that. And B, I'm just going to work to fix that model. We'll fix that. One of the problems was I don't ever have time to work on it because the next slate of games is coming up. And I got to get some picks out for you all. And we just got to keep going and going and going. Well, now there's this artificial break where I got all this time. So we're going to make use of it. We're going to try to come up with something that works, makes sense, doesn't pick all freaking road teams. So that's there. As far as what else is going on, I mean, if it doesn't speak for itself, it occurred to me, I don't know, a few years ago, we went on a trip down to Washington, D.C. Went to a museum called the Newseum. I think it's all past tense now. I think this thing is closed. It was a museum run by the news organizations as far as basically like the history of news media, whether it be newspapers or radio or television. Ultimately, what it was just a history museum because, what does the news cover? Well, it covers historical events. So it just goes through the history of news, and then by default, it has to cover the historical events that the news covered, at any rate. So I'm going through some of these exhibits and the front pages of these newspapers, and it just struck me how lucky, I guess, this current generation is in that there really just haven't been that many dramatic historical events that have occurred in the last, say, 50 years or so. 9/11, even that is not, it doesn't equate to the Vietnam War. I don't think that equates to, say, Kennedy getting shot, that sort of thing. 1968, that's when I was born. I mean, you had a major leader, civil rights leader, get assassinated, and then 2 months later you had the presumptive Democratic nominee to the president get shot. That's unheard of in these times. It just doesn't happen. So, where do we put what's going on now, this virus pandemic / panic, whatever you want to call it? Where do we put that? I would argue that this is the most significant historical event since World War II. Now, whether you think this panic is warranted or not, this lockdown, which is coming. I mean, I'm in Ohio right now. Probably by this time next week, I'm not going to be able to leave my house. That's coming. They've closed schools here in Ohio. That's coming to a town near you. Travel restrictions are definitely coming. I was joking that I might not be able to get back into Pennsylvania I just got to watch the news because this thing's happening faster than I would have expected. I think the next shoe to drop is watching out for one of these high-ranking politicians to get sick. That'll be the next thing that triggers the next wave of events, I believe. Trudeau up in Canada, his wife's already tested positive. I don't even know if those equate to the same thing. In other words, I test positive. Does that mean I'm sick? I don't know. So I guess it means you're going to get sick, maybe, but nobody knows how sick. Any rate. Yeah, so I kind of think you're going to be looking at, the way I'm equating it in my mind is this is going to be a nationwide mobilization, a war footing against this goddamn virus. That's what's going to happen. The country is going to go to war on a scale not seen since World War II against the enemy being this virus. It's not another country. We're going to war against this virus. So you have no idea, really how tough, I know I've spoken to some of my friends that think this is all nonsense. Well, then we're going to war against Grenada. So, we'll probably be able to beat them pretty easily, kick their ass. This will all be over in, say, 6 to 8 weeks, and then, resume normal life. There have been times in history where the United States has taken its enemy lightly. It's possible that could happen, where this virus is a lot tougher than maybe we give it credit for. The United States took the Confederate States of America lightly. That dragged on much longer than they thought it would. Did we take Japan lightly? I don't know. They caught us with our pants down, and we just got off to a slow start. I don't know if we took them lightly. So that all remains to be seen, but that is coming. I got a message from subscriber F, who is he just he's upset because he wants his sports. I thought to myself, subscriber F, his day job is he works in a hospital. I don't think this guy knows what's about to happen. You're about to be on the front lines of this war. God bless you, man. You're going to do yeoman duty for the rest of us. So salute to you. But it's coming. We'll just see if the enemy, basically its soldiers, are going to be sick people. So let's see how many soldiers show up to the hospital for the enemy. Is it going to be 10? Is it going to be 20? Is it going to be 100? Is it going to be 1,000,000? We don't know yet. So that's the way I'm thinking of it. I think by this time next week, the country will be on a national lockdown war footing. I think that's what's coming. It's kind of where Italy is now. It's where China was. It just is. I mean, we don't have any sports to watch at the moment, so we might as well do that. Baseball, I'm going to do our draft. It'll be I think July 4th. That's what your best guess is. Your most optimistic guess as to when the season starts. I think their press release said they're pushing it back 2 weeks. Nothing's going to happen in 2 weeks except you're going to push it back even further. I mean, you're looking at July 4th. That's what I think. So there you have it. That's about all I got for you. I think we had 4 picks to close out the college basketball season. I believe we split them. I guess Boston ends up being the Patriot champion for the year 2020. Good for them. They get a banner to hang, I guess. Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't they? They won the tournament before it all shut down. So, yeah. All right. Well, carry on. Wash your hands. Do your social distancing. I'm despite the fact that I'm out here in the world, I am mindful of being safe, and I haven't really seen any difference in behavior or people on the streets. It all looks like nothing's happening to me. But I'm keeping abreast of the news, so I'll be home before the war is declared. Very good. From me to you, Eric Arnold. I was going to say good morning and good gambling. I don't know what we're going to gamble on. I think the horses are still running. So maybe you got like a Churchill Downs account or something like that. I know some of you do. So that's probably where some of you are right now. You're online at your Churchill Downs account. All right. Good morning. Good gambling.